They've reminded the team. The great part about this team is we've got a ton of leaders on this team that make their presence known in and around the building, in the locker room in particular. Lead by example and then verbally as well. So those guys have made it very clear, what it was like years ago when the team had a good start and didn't stay focused on the process. Well, first of all, I want to make this known that we have confidence in the guys in our receiving room. Philly's a guy that's played in games. He knows the system. He knows what we're looking for. He knows what it's like to play in big games. For all those reasons, really, Sal, we felt like it was the right time. We're anxious to take a look at him today and see how he looks here. It's never easy to lose a player, like any player, but also a player of that quality and caliber with Jordan Matthews. But we're not limited. We move forward, and that's what good teams do. It's a next man up approach, and I expect whoever that next man is, in this case at the wide receiver position, to step up and do his job.
Speaking of the passing game, how important has it been, you think, for the success that you have had, which hasn't been a whole lot passing, but whatever you have had, you've incorporated play action more than we've seen around here for a while. How important has that been for Tyrod to have that?
Right, Sal, that's been huge. Yeah, I mean, it's that goes right along with the running game. Just with my defensive background, I know how tough that is in order to diagnose the run and then the play action that comes off of it. That's tough to handle defensively. So it's important that we continue to do that, continue to play our style of football in all three phases, really. I think Danny Crossman, he does a great job of knowing his phase of the ball, and so we went through it in the off season. Danny identified Steven as a player that fit us. Certainly the conditions that we play in here, it was important that we had a leg like the type that Steven has, and then just the rapport he's been able to build up with Colton and Reed, and how important that triangle is in the operation. He's kicking well right now, and it's just it's good to see. It's really good to see, and that's a guy that was spent a long time in one place. Maybe told he wasn't in their plans, and like a lot of us in this building, and that's what our team's all about. Guys that embrace that underdog role. We'll see. We'll see. It's we're growing, and that in and of itself is a process. We've got to continue to grow and trend in this direction. Some things are seen on the surface, some aren't. That said, some of our warts are seen on the surface and some aren't. So we got to make sure that we get those corrected and be addicted to those rather than patting ourselves on the back for anything we've done at this point. I think they're growing just like our team. There's some really good moments, Matt, and there's some moments where we didn't play as well as we could have, or we didn't put a team away when we should have. So we've got to continue to look at everything of this football team, and I'm looking for us to control the line of scrimmage. That's highly important when you want to play good quality playoff caliber football and protect the quarterback at the same time. We can't end up in third and long situations, and we've done that entirely too much to this point.
I feel they've responded in times when you or Rick or just the game situation has challenged them to kind of step up.
Yeah, I think they've risen to the challenge in those situations. You go back and you look at fourth quarter of the Jets game, excuse me, fourth quarter of the Denver game, fourth quarter of the of Atlanta game, and the 19-play drive, the drive in Denver that got us into basically a 4-minute situation. That's who we can be, and that's a mindset, that's an identity, and that's an attitude. That's the attitude we need and we're looking for. Well, this is overall a playoff. This is a team that's been to the playoffs the last X amount of years, and this is a good football team. Anyone who looks at a record at this point in the season is making a huge mistake. They're led obviously by what they do defensively. Coach Gunther does a heck of a job in putting his players in position. They do a lot pressure-wise. They do a lot disguise-wise. They're fairly similar to our defense with some of the things that they do. They've got really strong personnel, and so you know, this will be a big challenge for us offensively, going against that defense as you mentioned, and going back to what Vic mentioned. You know, we need to be able to run the football. We need to be able to control the line of scrimmage, as was mentioned earlier, and so communication will be key, right? With all the different looks that we're presented with in a hostile environment, that we can all be on the same page across the board. Well, you look at the combination of height, weight, and speed, and then his catch radius is you know, is phenomenal. So you know, he's an elite receiver, and he's an elite receiver for a reason. He's been that for a number of years.